We're here, round 7, Formo Drift, Utah, which is an awesome track. This is only our 2nd year here. I loved it last year. It was super fast. It was a very smooth course overall, just like 3 big high-speed corners, really fast into turn 1, going from like 100, 110 down to like 60, and then like kind of carrying 60 to 70 through the entire course. Just getting the car ready. Josh is doing the oil change. We're going through the suspension, checking out our BCs, and doing a spring change on them, going through our part shop arms and kind of resetting them because we just came from Seattle, so the car's all twisted up for the bank. We're just giving it a full go over, not just in the setup, but nut and bolting, double checking things. You know, it's just very picturesque out here. It's an awesome backdrop. It's a big track too. This facility is huge. We got some nice breathing room. We're not really all on top of each other like some of the other venues. So, you know, we got a nice display. We're gonna have Alex Jagger pitting with us. It's their final round in Pro-Spec, and we're looking for him to, you know, get another podium finish. He's been killing it. You know, maybe get up in that top 3 in the championship. So, you know, fingers crossed for him. See if he can hold it down. And we go out for practice tomorrow. Qualify Thursday. We're off on Friday. Comp on Saturday.
Crazy, but I like Utah. It's total different scenery for me because I'm from the East Coast, so it's really cool to get to see this side of the world, you know? I am Alex Jagger. I run the Forsberg Racing NOS Energy Drink 370Z in Pro-Spec. We are here at Salt Lake City in Utah. Today is practice day, so it's a little different compared to other rounds. We get an extra day of practice, which is awesome. This track is super complicated, really fast, and just an absolute blast. So we had a pretty good setup coming into the event because we had some data from last year. And we got hit the ground running, and honestly, it was just an amazing day. It went really well, the car performed flawlessly, and I'm super stoked for qualifying tomorrow.
Forsberg at the line.
Not Forsberg, Alex Jagger.
But it is Forsberg Racing, NOS Energy Drink, Nissan Z.
Yeah, not Mr. Not Forsberg. All right, let's see what Mr. Jersey can do here. It's a nice initiation there as we see the hood flapping, bringing back some memories. Ooh, inside clip one, but inside zone one looked great as he gets into outside zone two. Sorry, outside zone one. Getting those confused here. Talking fast.
Yeah, numbers are hard.
And numbers are hard. As Alex setting himself up, looking shallow for three, which makes him wide. Oh, Jesus. That was close. Just got
looking at that nice little flick initiation. Could have wanted a little more aggression there coming out of there. Like you said, a little absent on inner clip one, fills in outer zone one, brings it around to outer zone two, filling it immediately, and never really wavering. A little left foot brake in there as we come around, keeping the same angle, keeping it composed. And here we go. It could have been a little more aggressive, but look, he was on that trajectory, and he couldn't really see what he had to do if it was just off throttle, but he did a good job recovering there. Look at that nice little flick, upsetting the rear end of the car to initiate that drift. A little absent from inner clip one, getting through outer zone one. Smooth transition there. Looked like he grabbed a little handbrake there. It's hard to see through the smoke. Left foot brake, filling out outer zone two, keeping the angle on, keeping the pressure on that throttle as he gets in outer zone three. Then the track bit back a little bit there, but he's like, nope, not today, and finished out his run. And he will be in the game. Abandoned ship.
Yeah. And a 78.33.
All right, here we go. Chris the Force Forsberg from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, now living in Southern California for numerous years. That NOS energy drink, all new Z, VR powered. See if he's got the power. The power of the babe, the power of the hoodoo, the voodoo, the power of the babe. Actor is.
No, I don't. Oh, this is from Labyrinth. Okay.
Here we go. Chris Forsberg, the Force. Let's see what you got. Show me what you got. Here we go. Initiates, throws it in. Look at me, Morty. Drifting. Here we go. To pass that inside clip into that first outside zone. Chris now finds himself in the second outside zone. Little lift on that front end. And that exhaust note now coming in from the last outside zone. Just slides right on in. He does exit out of that last outside zone a little early. So, again, Chris more of a technical precision driver, not full on out. So I like to look at this one here again. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, as he comes to that first inside clip, everything looks great, especially through the first inside zone, but he does float the car longer than what the judges wanted into two. They want him back on throttle well before that. A little bit of a left foot brake there to correct the car coming around. Transitions really early, and then same thing, floats the car into three, back on throttle, and you see the corrections that he's making. So these are, when we talked about the corrections between him and Kazuya, you see the corrections happening, but the attitude of the car wasn't changing. With Chris you can see what's happening in the car, and that's not what we wanted to see.
Right out there on the table.
He's also taken a lot of risks throughout his career for engine packages. He's done things that not a lot of people have done.
Great point.
And that's part
Nissan
of it too.
V8, right?
Yeah, exactly. Truck engines, racing engines,
and he
GTR
always
engines.
stuck true to Nissan on Nissan, right? Never went to an LS. Never went, obviously, 2J or RB. Always Nissan.
Yeah, I mean, at any point in time through his career, he could have made the jump, but stuck with Nissan.
Still a great score, 77.66. Puts him into 10th position. years of Formula Drift. My back hurts just saying that.
I'm a
You're a big Wang fan, gang.
Yeah, big Wang fan.
Okay, here we go. Chris Forsberg will lead. Forrest Wang giving chase. Let's see how they manage going into this first inside clip. Big angle there from Forsberg. Just a little bit more than Forrest Wang now dialing in that first outside zone. You can see Forrest Wang trying to navigate through that smoke. Forsberg gets out to that second outside zone. You see Forrest Wang getting a little bit closer in proximity. A little bit tighter of a line. Now Forsberg going to the outside, last outside zone. Forsberg getting into the dirt. And that allows Forrest Wang to gain that proximity and get to the side of him. So that just shows that really good composure by Forrest Wang, not getting affected by Chris dropping that back right tire, but Chris pushing for it. He knows he's right there. And again, Forrest Wang, that big angle style. But I'll tell you what, Forsberg had more rear initiation.
Yeah, and you can see Forrest Wang like pulling a little bit of angle out to catch back up with Chris Forsberg. It was a smart move. I mean, it didn't give him full proximity all the way through, but once they get into two, you can see Forrest kind of just get back on the throttle and start to close up. Chris didn't fill all of outside zone 2, so there is a little bit of room there. Forrest did spend a lot of time in the smoke. It is not easy to drive through here, and you can see Forrest surge ahead a little bit to get out of the smoke while Chris dips his tires back. So different styles, different driving techniques that we're seeing here, but they pair up really cool and make for a really interesting battle.
Yeah, and you called it. There's a little lack of angle, but make up that for proximity right here. Again, you see Chris really going for it, dips that back right, throws up some gravel right in front of the fans. And Forsberg, filled that second outside zone. Departed a little bit early, or kind of midsection, then got deeper, but that allowed again Forrest Wang with close proximity. But a lot of flying. That's what that attributes to, man. Yeah. So, but I love it. I would not change it for the world. I told President of Formula Drift Ryan Sater, said if I won the lotto, I'm still announcing Formula Drift. I'm just retiring everything else. No offense to other projects and people I work with, but Forrest Wang goes across the nose with a Manji entry, but Forsberg not phased. So again, that's something that the spotter needs to tell him and inform him. Now Forrest Wang in that second outside zone. Forrest way off course, digging deep, but that does allow Chris with that proximity into that last outside zone. Now there goes Forrest in that last outside zone. Forsberg right there on the door of that Yellow Speed Racing S chassis car.
Yeah, really here to put on a show. You can see that with this entry. Been watching him do this, try different things, and it did work out here. Where things get a little bit crazy, though, is this transition here seemed a little bit late, starting to push him off, and that's where we see the tires dip. But we've seen, if you get two tires into the gravel, anything can happen. You can run the whole zone and be fine. You can hit one little mound and wreck your entire day. He's able to hang on to it. Chris Forsberg, playing the veteran, able to anticipate what was about to happen, pulls away, stays on line, and keep the composure. It can be really difficult when you see somebody dip off like that. Your instinct is almost to follow them, but Chris, able to understand what's about to happen, shores himself up to get back on the correct line, and you can see Chris Forsberg on the correct line. Forrest comes back onto the track, and Chris is right there to chase him the rest of the way through.
Yeah, that was a good. Again, we talked about Chris going off Forrest right there, but with that two off, that's a trust. We'll see if the needle goes his way. There's one vote for Forsberg, and two. Chris Forsberg gets the win.
Glad to see you. Congratulations on the win. You qualified 16th, it's unusual to see you make capture issues that you were dealing with.
Yeah, we actually had a air temp sensor issue that we didn't realize going into qualifying, and so what it was doing was we're getting a false read, and it was actually pulling power out of the car throughout the run. So by the time we got to the end of the run, we're actually about 150 horsepower down. So that's why we kind of like missed the outer zone and couldn't get it up on the edge of the track. So, I mean, we're happy that we're in the show, of course, but we've discovered it, fixed it for today, and turned the wick up, and we're ready.
Okay, ready. So ready for battle against James Dean,
Yep.
who you're going to see in top 16. What are your expectations there?
I mean, Dean's a killer. We've seen him once this year in Atlanta. We got him then, hoping to get him again. He's fast, he's consistent. He obviously has a good handle on that car now. He qualified first, so I'm just expecting a nice, clean, fun battle. He's just a ripper, so we're gonna bring it.
Love that. Chris, thanks so much for your time.
first battle on deck. James Dean will lead. He is your #1 qualifier. He goes against Forsberg, who's going to be chasing him down here on run 1. James Dean initiates. Some parts go flying off. Looks like a little bit of a bumper there. Past an inside clip. James Dean wraps around and Chris Forsberg just nudges it over. Here we go to the first outside zone. See triple-digit speed going on initiation. Now, oh, James Dean goes way off course. And it's definitely 2 tires. Re-enters the picture. That's going to disrupt Chris Forsberg on the degree that he actually went off course. Forsberg now dialing it in, door to door, wheel to wheel. Mustang versus Z, our first battle. Again, 6 championships, 3 apiece on either side between these 2 legendary, arguably some of the best drifters in the world. What a great way to start 16.
Well, Dean looked like he was starting to gain an advantage on Forsberg, generally speaking. Great job on that inside clip. He's got a little bit of distance here, and you can see Forsberg is just a slightly bit tighter on this second outside zone. But there goes Dean, 2 tire drop. Kind of does disrupt Forsberg a little bit. It's going to be a mistake on Dean, and it's a good opportunity for Forsberg's team to say, hey, you know what? Let's evaluate the mistake that Dean made. Let's look at what we need to do in our lead run, and can we take home this victory? Meanwhile, James is going to have to do what he does almost better than anybody in the world, and that's be that incredible chase driver that puts tons of pressure on the lead.
You know, but you have to take into consideration, you know, James is, I hate to say it, finally hitting his stride, as we talked about on the front of the show. Our first battle of top 16, and this is just such a big one. Chris the Force Forsberg initiates, goes across the nose of that Ford Mustang and James Dean. Chris Ford, look at, there you go, James Dean right there on the door of that all-new Z. Forsberg gets to the outside zone. James Dean does dive in on the inside a little bit. Now Chris Forsberg gets that second outside zone. James Dean grinding the door of that Nissan Z, banging on it. Does he answer? And he answers back with the transition in that last outside zone, filling all of it. And James, look at him just drop right in. You see him just that rate to angle where he finds that extra special sauce. He just drizzles it all over and just gets right to the side. Good job. Was it enough? Well, you know, with those wheels off, let's break it down.
If I was a judge, the calculus would be how much weight is the James Dean mistake versus with Forsberg in his chase wasn't really in proximity in attack. James was in attack at multiple points during this run, staying right above the smoke line, good positioning, trying to gain as much proximity and also the duration without making contact. I mean, it's precision driving from James. A couple little mistakes, but they're aggressive mistakes, and so that's what the judges are going to be looking at, is the weightiness of James's mistake in the lead, 2 tire drops, versus how well he did in the chase position.
Here we are in the Royal Purple Top 16. Do we have a victor? Slide him left for James Dean, right for Chris Forsberg, and Chris Forsberg gets the win.
Did we won? Good job, guys. Good job winning,
Fucking
guys.
go, Kitty!
Yeah. Good job, you guys. Nice win. Yeah. I did it all myself. Little kitty paw. It's just a cakewalk from here on out, boys. I'm just kidding, but we're gonna these guys up, that's for sure. Yeah, we're coming. We're coming. We're coming up. This is our good luck charm. So you're gonna give the little Benny kidney. You!
Let's go, dude.
Chris. That's nothing for us.
Make your own luck.
Make your own luck.
Dude.
I'll put it in the car. Little Benny.
Put him back on the dash.
Kitty paw.
Little GLC.
Real big job.
Out of momentum going your way, and he wants to know what's going on in your head.
Oh, geez. I mean, yeah. Talking about momentum, this track has a lot of it. It's fast and it's crazy. You can see a lot of guys are dipping tires off the track. I mean, even I did on my run in top 32 because you carry so much momentum going into these like big constant radius corners. So it's difficult to get the car slowed down to the perfect speed to then hold that speed throughout that radius on the edge of the track because obviously the closer you are to the edge, the better it looks for you in the lead position. So James has been putting it on the edge of the track all weekend long, and you know we knew we were going to have to bring it to him, but he pushed us just that little bit too much and got his tires in there. So it worked out for us, but you know we're feeling really good, really confident in the car. It's performing really well today.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if, when watching someone like James Dean pushed it a little bit too far, is that a lesson that you can take?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously want to make sure that we keep it on the track. I mean, on my second run, the lead run, I knew that we had a bit of an advantage, so I certainly played it a little safe to not recreate the same scenario. And I was probably like 2 or 3 feet off of that zone instead of up on the edge like I could have and should have been. But you know, I've seen like half the battles today, you know, win and lose because of people going off track. So you got to ride that fine line when you need to.
And here we go, back to the starting order. Now, this is the Grade 8. We saw how the bracket is shaping up. Right now, it's Chris Forsberg versus Matt Field. Here we go, first battle of our Torque Motorsport Grade 8, Torque Drift 2, the official drifting game of Formula Drift. Chris Forsberg, the all-new NOS energy drink, Nissan Z, and Matt Field, the Beast from the Bay, Borla exhaust, lead, holy cow! Look at that angle from Chris Forsberg. I've never seen anything like that. He took a way shallow line. We gotta run that back, but here comes Matt Field. Looks like he is getting out of sorts here. Chris Forsberg into that last outside zone. That was an absolutely wild initiation. Forsberg pulls off to the right. He's on the rumble strips. Man, that was wild. Ryan, what do you think?
It's the biggest flick that we've seen all weekend. Huge, massive angle, but he starts pulling angle out of it, realizing he may come to an abrupt stop there at that first inside clip. And that looked to affect Matt Field pretty severely. Field is trying to make some adjustments, and I think everything that we see up to about this point right here is as a consequence of what happened after that initiation. So the judges are certainly going to have to take a look at it, but because Forsberg is dictating everything, once he goes to a huge, massive angle like that and loses momentum and has to pull angle out, that's certainly going to have an effect on Field. And you can see from this point forward, Field is having to play catch-up. He surges forward, he drops the tire there, but all of that, I believe, is as a consequence of what happened at that first inside clip.
You know, this is something also, again, we talk about backwards entries. That wasn't backwards, but just the degree of angle, it just didn't have the fluidness. If he was kind of out a little wider, and I don't know, it just looked unlike we've seen from anybody before. Dan, Pete? All right, here we go, the second half of this battle. We're talking about Matt Field, the Beast in the Bay. Chris the Force Forsberg. Matt Field initiates. That wide swing goes through the 3-2-1 cone, past that inside clip, into that first outside zone, the smaller of the three. Into that second outside zone goes Matt Field, the Borla exhaust Corvette. Now, look at that. Just absolutely settled. And now into that last outside zone. Forsberg, great proximity, but Matt Field with that really well done lead run. That second and third outside zone, Ryan, I mean, it just seemed like he was a magnet. He was a Velcro on those outside zones.
Extract out from this run between both Matt and Chris, but I feel like the weightiness of the ruling is really going to come down to the first run and the interpretation of that inside clip. That feels to me like the thing that the judges are ultimately going to press on when it comes to finding out who moves forward. This run is great from both guys. Field has a pretty solid lead. Forsberg has a pretty solid chase. All around, no major mistakes. A couple little things here and there, but overall, nothing to point to and say, this guy made a huge, massive mistake on this run. I mean, you can see some difference right there in line from Field to Forsberg, but it's not anything glaring. The main glaring part of the battle was that first run.
1945 Speed and Custom working on his car, but shout out to Matt Field. Matt Field gets the victory and advances on. Chris Forsberg knocked out.
Well, too bad. Fucking midget chopped you guys the whole day. Again, never happens. Stupid. I quit.
Great looking chase. Good driving. Don't beat yourself up, man. Guess what? Yeah, still gonna.
Well, that's a wrap for us here at Utah. This track was absolutely insane. I loved it. We were really getting into the groove coming into Saturday. The car was ripping. We turned the power up, we turned the nitrous up. It's getting towards the end of the year, and it's kind of like, you know, don't hold back. So we wicked the car up. We got through top 32 with Forrest Wang, got through top 16 with James Dean. You know, we had a pretty gnarly run with Matt Field. If we were able to pick up the throttle maybe 30 feet sooner, we could have got the win, but that car got so keeled over coming in. I thought it was gonna hold. It went a little past lock. I didn't want it to, but it did. Just trying to give a hot and heavy entry. We've been snapping it over all weekend long, and it just went that little bit more than I wanted it to. So either way, it was a killer weekend. We, got some good points. I think we're feeling pretty solid in the championship, having, maybe moving up a spot or two, so we gotta go check all that. But otherwise, car's in one piece, everything's good, spirits are high, everybody's pumped. That was a pretty sick way to finish the weekend, I guess. So otherwise, see you at Irwindale.